option. But right now, we're now up to 14 sheriffs who say they will not enforce this ban. They say it's unconstitutional, and the governor's office says those sheriffs are violating their oaths.
This is the difference between a sheriff and a police chief. Welcome to another installment of the Connecticut Gun Bench. Today's video is brought to you by P.A.N. Firearms, LLC. P.A.N. Firearms for your NRA certification and multifaceted gun training. You can reach us at 203-300-6343 or use our website at www.panfirearmsllc.com. As always, there'll be a link in the description box below. Let's talk about this. This is exciting news. If you remember, I did a video on Illinois passing an assault weapons ban, and which obviously is going to be challenged in court, but it is in effect. Now, what has happened, as you saw from the opening video, is that police chiefs throughout counties in Illinois are refusing to enforce it in any way, shape, or form. And I applaud them. I want to play some more of the video because there's a couple of these sheriffs speaking out and quotes from themselves. And I want to make sure we get full context. So let's watch that real quick.
One day after Governor J.B. Pritzker signed the Protect Illinois Communities Act into law, some state law enforcement leaders are already refusing to enforce it. The sheriffs in more than a dozen counties, including Kankakee, Grundy, and McHenry, released similarly worded statements Wednesday, saying the assault weapons ban violates the Second Amendment. Kankakee Sheriff Mike Downey writing, "Therefore, as the custodian of the jail and chief law enforcement official for Kankakee County, neither myself nor my office will be checking to ensure that lawful gun owners register their weapons with the state, nor will we be arresting or housing law-abiding individuals that have been charged solely with non-compliance of this act."
So they're basically saying that their own reading of the U.S. Constitution trumps the General Assembly's view of the U.S. Constitution as reflected in the assault weapons ban.
IIT law professor Harold Krent says ultimately this fight will have to be decided by the courts.
Either a decision that the assault weapons ban is inconsistent with the Second Amendment, therefore should not be enforced, or a judgment that it is consistent, in which case the sheriff really has no leg to stand on.
The governor's office responding to the sheriffs, saying that anyone who advocates for law and order and then refuses to follow the law is in violation of their oath of office, echoing his remarks after he signed the ban.
There are, of course, people who are trying to politically grandstand, who want to make a name for themselves by claiming that they will not comply. But the reality is that the state police is responsible for enforcement, as are all law enforcement all across this state, and they will, in fact, do their job, or they won't be in their job.
And this law is already headed for the courts. The group Federal Firearms Licensees of Illinois tells me they'll be filing for an injunction early next week as they fight the ban. So there's a lot more to come here, guys, on multiple fronts.
Heard that and you saw that. Now I applaud them. I applaud them 100%. They are correct. This is unconstitutional, and we're not doing it. And as I said in my opening monologue, that's the difference between a police chief and a sheriff. Sheriffs are elected by the people, so sheriffs tend to serve the people. Police chiefs are appointed by the mayor. They tend to serve the government. But I'm gonna jump over here. This is from the Journal Standard. Rockford, Freeport area sheriff's offices won't enforce new assault weapons ban laws. A new Illinois law banning the sale or possession of semi-automatic weapons won't be fully enforced in Winnebago County or Stevenson County. That is expanded to, I think, like 14 counties, if I remember correctly. Part of the new law requires residents who already own these weapons to register them with the Illinois State Police. Both Winnebago County Sheriff Gary Carunua and Stevenson County Sheriff Stephen Stovall said their offices won't check to see if residents in the county have registered their weapons with the police. Good for them. As you heard him say before, that's a quote from the chief there. As a custodian of the jail and chief law enforcement official for Stevenson County, neither myself nor my office will be checking to ensure that lawful gun owners register their weapons with the state, the sheriff said in a statement Wednesday. Nor will we be arresting or housing law-abiding individuals who have been arrested solely for non-compliance of this act, the sheriff continued. Winnebago County Sheriff Gary Carunua also said his office will not be making any arrests and believes the law violates the Second Amendment to the Constitution. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker called the sheriff's stance political grandstanding and said law enforcement officials can't pick and choose what laws they follow. Actually, they can. You give an oath to the Constitution, not to the government, to the Constitution. And if these men believe that the law is unconstitutional, they have every right to not enforce laws that violate it. This governor needs to go back and read the Constitution and understand that. This is quoting him. Sheriffs have an unconstitutional duty to uphold the laws of the state, not pick and choose which laws they support and when. Governor Pritzker said in a statement sent to the Register Star. Anyone who advocates for law and order and public safety and then refuses to follow the law is in violation of their oath of office. Assault weapons ban has nothing to do with law, order, or public safety, because he has not, once again, the criminal element runs rampant while laws only affect those who are willing to follow them. I pointed this out before in my video that I did on the passing of this assault weapons ban. This Governor Pritzker is just a pure hypocrite. Chicago is a bloodbath night after night. And yet he thinks that this is somehow going to change that perception or what's going on down there in Chicago. Sorry, it doesn't work, but Sheriff Caronua is not alone in the thought of the Second Amendment, as critics of the legislation warn the governor's signature would trigger court challenges which will ultimately overturn the law as violation of the Second Amendment. It will. But as I said, you heard me say it repeatedly, the state uses your money to defend itself while you have to use your money to fight against it. That's how it works. Governor Pritzker doesn't believe that this will be the case, however. Confident that this law will hold up any future legal challenges, but again, it is the current state law of our state. No, it's not. Definitely not. Governor Pritzker said and others in favor of the legislation believe it will make communities safer under the new legislation. If a police stop a car driven by a semi-automatic gun owner, for example, they can instantly check to ensure it's legally owned. Yeah. Law enforcement can also trace a gun that, for example, is stolen and used in a crime. Sheriff Stoll is disagreed, however, said the legislation will do nothing to make our communities safer. Sheriff Stoll also said lawmakers are trying to make criminals out of law-abiding citizens. The legislation bans dozen types of brands of types of rifles and handguns, 50 caliber guns, attachments, and rapid firing devices. No rifle will be allowed to accommodate more than 10 rounds with a 15-round limit for handguns. Okay. I applaud these sheriffs. Now, of course, all you're getting from the governor there is gaslighting. That's all that is. We're doing what's right for the community. No, you're not. You're just going along with the status quo because it just fits nicely and makes you look good for re-election. That's all. But I applaud these sheriffs to stand their ground. Now, once again, this, of course, is going to raise the specter of how is the governor going to address this? Is he going to send a state police into these counties to then double down on enforcing these laws? And then are these sheriffs of these counties going to have to intervene? What is the dynamic going to be? This is going to be very interesting, because I did a video on Canada and their, a ban that they put through, and counties or provinces, as they're called in Canada, like 5 of them said, we're not enforcing this and we're not going to do anything with this. So this, once again, is like the line drawn in the sand. How is this going to play out? How is the government going to use the state police against these local sheriffs, these county sheriffs? It's going to be interesting. And I hope these sheriffs stand their ground. Good for them. I applaud them 100%. They are correct. This is a violation of the Constitution. But let me know what you think. As always, you can leave your comments in the comment section below. And as always, any statements of violence or statements that lead to violence will be removed. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you're notified the next time a video goes live. I will see you on the next one. Peace.